There have been a couple of cases recently where a fairly significant number of alleged criminals have been shot dead by police. Sometimes, I think in one case there were six, in another case there were nine, and there are a lot of people who celebrate that. The police minister, Bheki Cele, and the police commissioner are two of the people who celebrate that. And certainly what I have got from listeners is that it's about time that police fought fire with fire. I understand the celebration, if that's the right word, or the welcome of this, but I wonder if it is what we should be setting in stone as the de facto way of dealing with these things. Wait until there is a cash in transit. You get intelligence, you wait until the things are just about to happen, then there's a shootout, maybe a couple of police are killed, maybe a lot of robbers are killed. We killed more of them than they killed of us, so it's a win, is it? Gareth Newham is with the Institute for Security Studies. Gareth, what's your view? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and to everybody listening. From our perspective, it's a very concerning development that we've seen increasing number of cases where police have got into armed conflict, shootouts with gangs of criminals, in which large numbers have been killed by the police. For a number of reasons. Firstly, in this most recent case in KwaZulu-Natal, where 9 suspects were killed and 3 or 4 firearms were recovered, it suggests that 6 people who are unarmed were killed. And there have been other instances where innocent people who had nothing to do with any alleged crimes had also been killed. And when the police start getting into these situations, it raises a number of questions. First of all, it raises the question about what kind of intelligence are they getting? Because if they had good intelligence, they knew exactly who was in a particular building, what they were suspected of doing, their firepower, what they're armed with, and whether there were innocent people nearby, they could plan a different operation to avoid any kind of conflict. And that then speaks to their operational plan, because they're not trained to go in and kill people. They may use deadly force to protect their lives, to protect the lives of others, or to effect arrests of people that could be about to commit a serious crime such as murder. But when they have the element of surprise and they have the training and ability to arrest people without killing them, it does raise a range of questions. Because when the police start acting this way, international research and experience shows that it makes the lives of police much more difficult and much more dangerous. Criminals then start seeing the police not as trained professionals who will subject them to a fair process in courts. They just see them as another gang who's out to kill them. And therefore, they're more likely to open fire. They're more likely to attack the police. It also denies, for example, the victims of those crimes a sense of justice. We don't know if there could have been greater information gained from arresting these people, interrogating them, because criminal networks and organized crime is very networked. So if you have access to people who are involved in these kinds of crimes, it's much better to have them alive so you can actually identify who else is involved, identify who's got illegal firearms, for example, and then you have a much better chance of making inroads against these crimes. And secondly, it really undermines public trust in the police, because it is just a matter of time before more innocent people get killed or the police themselves get killed, and there'll be an outcry which turns public sentiments against them. So it is worrying that this is a trend, because it might seem like a good thing. We have seen people feeling like the police are doing the right thing, but we don't have objective evidence that the people they're killing are all involved in serious crimes. I mean, if it was a case that if you killed criminals, you would see a reduction in crimes, then you should be seeing big reductions in crime, because the police on average over the last 5 years have killed up to 400 people a year. On top of that, vigilante action in communities is killing a further 2,000 people a year. So if killing people that you suspected of committing crimes was an effective crime reduction approach, we wouldn't have seen these massive increases in murder, armed robberies, and organized crime over the same time period.
I guess, Gareth, that a lot of people who are, if not celebrating, at least welcoming of the police action, might argue that the robbers started it. The hijackers started it. The cash in transit robbers started it. And what are police to do in a situation like that? Put up their hands and say, oh, sorry, please take the money and run.
No, not at all. Not at all. If the police come under fire, they must defend themselves, and they are legally entitled to defend themselves. Section 49 of the Criminal Procedure Act around the use of lethal force to effect arrest is very clear. The police are trained in self-defense in the law of that. So it's not about them just letting criminals get away with it. But in some of these instances, these firefights take place at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You can assume that they have intelligence. They go to a building where these criminal gangs are residing in the middle of the night or 1 o'clock in the morning. What is interesting is how they're not able to surround the place, either get into the venue very quickly so that there's not a chance for these criminals to respond, but at least surround the place, clear out any innocent people, and make sure that the criminals inside the building know there's no escape, and the only way they can come out is when they come out with their hands up. And there's various other less than lethal weapons that can be used to affect or to support that. But what is not international best practice in policing is to move into areas or into a building or a house or residential area with large numbers of criminals and get into a firefight. Because your element of surprise, the intelligence you have, your operational training should prevent all of that. That is a standard for international democratic policing. And if that's not happening, it's not a success. It's a cause of concern.
Gareth, thank you very much for sharing those views with us. Gareth Newham is with the Institute for Security Studies.